it even may appear that way. Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said, sometimes even somebody may appear to be, somewhat retreating, but Guru Maharaj said that that person is going a few steps back and then running fast towards an obstacle, like a ditch or a barrier, and gaining some speed and then jumping over that barrier. So you cannot even really say, even if it appears, which it may not appear, but even if it appears that a Vaishnava is retreating, that may be also tactically advantageous, So in any event, this is our normal Sunday program here, and we've been having this Bhakti Yoga retreat, which has gone on since Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then on Wednesday we're having Govinda Mela. Now, Govinda Maharaj is our divine guru who we were with for so many years, and the Govinda Mela will be for the glorification of the Vaishnavas and the sincere followers of Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj, and that will start. But Govinda Mela also, Govinda is the name of the Supreme Lord, so in all ways everyone will be benefited. And that will start on Wednesday, and we're expecting many senior Vaishnavas will be here. We already have Vishakha came, she's here, and Devashish Prabhu is coming from England, and already devotees are here, already for the Bhakti Yoga retreat. Devotees are from Salt Lake City, right? Some of you are from Salt Lake City. Some are, as we heard, from Los Angeles. Some other devotees have come from Canada, Australia. Some devotees have come from Australia, England, Colombia, Brazil, Italy, Croatia, France, all countries. They're all here. So, Russia. Oh, Russia too. So, we're very happy to have kind of an international gathering of devotees here. And so sometimes it may arise, what is bhakti? Now, we've had some nice festivals, and yesterday is Jagannath Ratha Yatra, before that, Gundicha Marjan. So it gives all these festivals, they're like, they show us, if we follow the divine flow, we can understand something of what is bhakti through the dedication to the service of our eternal Lord. As Mahaprabhu said, Jivar Swarupoi Krishna Nityadas. He said that every one of us, by nature, we're Jivar Swarup. Our nature, our intrinsic nature is that we're the eternal servants of Krishna. So that is a nice identity to have, who are you close with? Who do you admire? Well, I admire Gurudev. I admire the Supreme Lord, Shri Radha Krishna. I admire Mahaprabhu. I follow them. Now that is something very worthy. Sometimes we have to distinguish between what is some mundane conception of reality, even if it extends up to religion. We have to understand that these are all temporary designations. They're bodily designations. And we see sometimes people have arguments and they're not very happy about, abuses go on even in the name of so-called religion. And that makes people upset. And then sometimes we also hear that people who don't understand what is divinity, they look at events that are going on in the world and And they say, oh, there's so many atrocities that go on in the world. How can God exist if these things are allowed to happen? They say like that. But first of all, why do we blame, if you want to create a conception of God, why do you blame God, your conception of God? You created God, that false conception in your mind, and then you're going to blame God because of your or other people's actions. Why is that? First of all, he hasn't put a regulator on everybody. Why? Because we're interested in developing love of God. Now, if some man, he has a dedicated wife, and he said, why did you marry me? And she says, oh, because I was forced to, or nobody else would have me, so then I chose you because I didn't really have too much choice in the whole matter. Then the man would not be very happy with that kind of answer. It would say, if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Or as she says, if you don't like me, you don't have to be with me. Why? Because there's free will. There's no conception, no real meaning of love if there's not free will. So don't think that, that the nature of God is that he's going to control everyone's actions to the extent that there will be, no bad actions that occur in the world. And bad actions will occur because the living entity has free will. He can choose whether to serve the Lord or to reject the Lord. And I remember one quote we heard, sometimes Gurudev would quote from Milton's Paradise Lost, What is the very conception of the devil is that it is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven. Because the idea of serving, that you have to serve. You mean I'm not number one? I have to serve somebody? What is that? I want to be served. Because that's the nature of false ego. The false ego means, to paraphrase an old saying, they say, false ego means the little, small materialist that everyone carries inside. That is their false ego. And that false ego, doesn't like to hear anything about serving. He would rather, enjoy without any relationship of service. But regardless of whether regardless of whether you think that's, so first of all, I'm saying bhakti yoga means there has to be free, you have freedom to serve the Lord. And Srila Govinda Maharaj used to say that there are two general conceptions of, we can say bhakti. One is Vidhi Marg and one is Rag Marg. Now in Vidhi Marg, there's so many rules and regulations, and there are, all kinds of mantras to chant. When you get up in the morning, you chant mantra before you touch the earth, before you put your feet out of bed. You chant some mantras. And when you bathe, you touch mantras. I remember one devotee, he was a pujari, you remember Shonika in Costa Rica, he would chant mantras for the datud, but that was for serving the Lord, for enabling. So there's mantras for everything, but we see when Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was blessed by Mahaprabhu, and his whole conception of life changed from that of gross impersonalism, that the Lord has no form, no qualities, no qualities, no form, no name, nothing, just impersonal, to that of be recognizing, understanding what Mahaprabhu has come to give, the holy name, the chanting of the holy name, divine love. After Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya got Mahaprabhu's mercy, then when Mahaprabhu brought prasadam from the Jagannath temple early in the morning, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who is a strict Brahmin, he didn't offer any prayers or anything. He just immediately respected the Mahaprasadam, and he said, recited verses that Mahaprasadam is to be taken, whether it's stale or fresh, regardless if it's coming from a distant place. As soon as one gets it, one should take that. And he immediately respected that Mahaprasadam. So Vidimarg means so many rules and regulations. Maybe Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya before was observing all these principles of Vidimarg. But after he got Mahaprabhu's mercy, he was only interested in the spontaneous flow of love coming from the heart. And that is Ragmarg Bhakti, or Kevala Bhakti. And of that, Srila Govinda Mela said, actually, all of us following the path of Mahaprabhu, we cannot say that we're on that divine plane where we have, this spontaneous love for God, because, spontaneous love, we would have great eagerness at every moment. I'm not sleeping late in the morning. I have great desire to come to the temple of the Lord and see when they open the curtains and that he's being worshipped. I have great desire for that. But Srila Govinda Mela, he said, being Westerners, we're very fortunate that we have at least some glimpse of Ragmarg, of spontaneous devotional service given by Mahaprabhu, because he said we would be totally unqualified, to even pronounce the mantras of Vidimarg. Sometimes devotees, I remember one devotee, he was from Mexico, and he came back and he had taken initiation from Srila Govinda Mela, nice person, and he said, and they said, what is your name? And he said, Raji Blochan. Raji Blochan. But then we could understand Rajiv Lochan, Rajiv, that name, that the lotus eyes of the Lord. Okay. So, but sometimes we see devotees, they can't even pronounce their name. Not that that's disqualification, But how would they be able to pronounce all the intricate mantras of the Vedas? Like Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he went to one temple that he was coming for a donation, but where he went, they were not worshippers of Krishna, they were worshippers of Kalima. And he went, I don't know what is the main Kali mantra that they're chanting. Govinda Maharaj could say what that was. But they were chanting this, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj was approaching this rich man who was at this Kali worship, and he is approaching him, and he says, Srila Guru Maharaj, he said, well, actually your pujari, he's not chanting these mantras properly. And they said, well, why is that? And he says, because it says right in the mantra that when you say the mantra, you're not supposed to be moving your head, looking to the left or to the right. You're supposed to be looking straight ahead. But when he's saying the mantras, he's moving his head. And then that rich man, he said, you see, he knows. Even though Guru Maharaj was not a Kali Ma Bhakta, but he knew from the mantras, he knew what is the proper way. So that man listened to Guru Maharaj, and he also helped Guru Maharaj's mission, because Guru Maharaj could, he could captivate everyone. But I just see that even so-called pujaris, even when we see the story of Vridasura in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the whole story, I've told that before, but Vridasura previously he was Chitraketu. And Chitraketu walked into an assembly where Lord Shiva was sitting with Parvati on his lap, his wife Parvati. And Chitraketu was a friend of Lord Shiva. So Chitraketu walked in and he saw Shiva sitting with Parvati on his lap, and he started to laugh, and he says, "Oh, just see, here is Lord Shiva sitting with his wife on his lap, just like an ordinary man, like who's, like that." And Lord Shiva, he was amused. He thought it was funny. But Parvati didn't see the humor in the remark. So then she said, "All right, you are cursed to go to the earth as an asura." So Chitraketu didn't mind. He said, "All right, mother, my dear mother, I accept your curse." And Shiva told Parvati, he says, "You know what you're doing?" He says, "He's a Narayana Parayana. He's a pure devotee of Narayan. He doesn't care if he's in heaven or hell. Going to the, whatever position he's in is okay with him. He doesn't care." So Vridasura, he was to go to take the demons, the asuras were performing a sacrifice to have someone who would be an enemy of Indra. But they mispronounced the mantras. They said one syllable wrong. So instead of getting somebody who was an enemy, who saw Indra as an enemy, they got somebody who Indra saw as an enemy. But the Sura, the demon who took birth under Parvati's curse, Chitraketu, transformed into Vridasura, he didn't see Indra as an enemy. Indra saw him as an enemy, but he didn't see Indra as an enemy. Why? Because he's a Mahabhagavata. He's a pure soul. He doesn't see, like Prahlad Maharaj said, I reject your idea of politics because I don't see the conception of friend and enemy. I reject that. So Vridasura, he didn't consider Indra as an enemy. And so the demons are fighting, and then, finally it got to the point where Vridasura had to tell Indra, "This is what you need. If you want to kill me, this is what you have to do. You have to get this from the bones of your ancestors." It was a whole weapon made. He had to tell them how to do things. But my point is, just one syllable wrong defeated the whole purpose of why they were doing the sacrifice. They wanted somebody who was a valiant enemy of Indra, but instead they got somebody who was Indra saw as an enemy. So imagine if we were doing Vidimarg and we're pronouncing wrong the mantras in a big massacre. Big massacre. And sometimes devotees can't even pronounce their own name. So how would they keep from messing up very intricate mantras? So that's going on. But so Govinda Maharaj said, therefore Mahaprabhu is given for the West, the path of Ragmarg ultimately is our salvation, because there is not depending on formality. Actually, the worship of Vrindavan, we already have heard. They're in Vrindavan, they're not thinking of Krishna as the Supreme Lord, The Supreme Lord. They're not thinking in that way. I remember when I first came to ISKCON, I got I liked very much the original books of Srila Prabhupada, and they were full of typographical mistakes. So they referred to the Supreme Lord and the cow-hard girls instead of the cow-herd girls, the cow-hard girls. But I love those typographical mistakes, and I used to smell those books. Wow, they smelled like India. The books, they smelled like India.
Like Navdeep.
Huh?
Like Navdeep and Mayapur. Sita was done.
Maybe they were shipped with some Lifebuoy soap. I don't know. But they had a special smell, which was very nice. So I saw that with, all our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj. They've given us some entrance into the conception of Mahaprabhu's great mercy and Nityananda Prabhu's mercy of giving out, Love of Godhead. Because if somebody even, why is bhakti important? Even if somebody thinks that religion, a lot of bad things have happened in the name of religion. Oh, sure, a lot of bad things have happened in the name of religions. You know, we've, even individually, we've gone through some personal abuse where people have said, in the name of religion, they, like, you know, so sometimes atrocities even have happened in the name of religion, but still one cannot ignore the fact that life itself is divine experience, mystical experience, divine experience. If you can't perceive that there's something very intrinsically special about life, then you're missing something, you know. And this is what bhakti is trying to awaken in everyone. Like, you know, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, Sarvadharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja, aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma shucha. He says, you forget all your sarvadharmam parityaja, you forget all your mundane conceptions of dharma and religion. You forget about them. And you try to focus on, you know, just surrendering to the Lord. That will be something positive. And we've heard Srila Sri. I remember when I first went to the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, one thing Srila Sridhar Maharaj told me. He said, here, in this Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, this place is known as Aparad Bhanjan Pot. This is where all the offenses are forgiven. So he said, there, if you will invest everything you have, meaning your own soul, your own self, if you will invest everything that you have here, you will get the greatest return on your investment. You know, so that's what we're looking for. You know, Mahaprabhu, he said, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadishaya kamaye. Mama janmani janmanishvare, bhavatad bhaktir rahaitu kitvai. He said, I'm not interested, na dhanam, I'm not interested in wealth, and I'm not interested in any number of followers, na janam. I'm not interested in known as a big guru or as a big religionist. I'm not interested in that. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. And I'm not interested in getting a very beautiful consort or a beautiful wife or a beautiful girlfriend, or if it was a girl, somebody that's, you know, very attractive to them, and, you know, anyone. He says, I'm not interested. Na dhanam, na janam, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Sundarim, very beautiful. I'm not interested in finding somebody, you know, who's very beautiful and, you know, na sundarim kavitamba jagadishaya kamai. And he says, I'm not even interested in the position. Kavitamba jagadishaya kamai. Kavi is poet. And that's associated with liberation. So the Vedas normally teach dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. They teach religion, dharma, making money. You know, sometimes they're very closely related. You know, one becomes religious so that they can make money, right? They pray to God to make me successful. I'm performing many austerities and I'm going through many difficulties and I'm worshiping you, my Lord, so that someday you will make me a millionaire. You know, like we heard, Govinda Maharaj told the story about one man, again, he was a worshiper of Kali, and he would every year donate a goat for the sacrifice. You know, they would sacrifice a goat. So each year he would give a goat. But one year came, and he didn't give a goat for the Kali sacrifice. And somebody said, "Hey, Baba, you know, why no goat this year?" And he said, No tea. No tea. He had lost his last teeth, so he wasn't giving a goat anymore for sacrifice because he had lost his teeth. So it's an Indian joke. I mean, so anyway. So, but normally people are doing, they're worshiping God so that they can be successful in life. And, if they're not successful, then sometimes they may even become, lose faith in God. Oh, I worshiped you for so long to become successful. And this person, he was a gross atheist. And he became very rich and I became poor. Why is this? This is not real. This is not. If there's God, I was worshiping you, God, and you made me poor. And this man didn't worship you and he became rich. This is totally unfair. But, Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, when you're worshiping divinity, it's all rights reserved, right? What's that? All rights reserved. He's not indebted to you for your devotion or for your bhakti. He doesn't owe you something. People normally worship the Lord for some material development or for why do they want money? So that they can enjoy, Because if I have money, then, I don't have to drive some old Honda. I can buy, a Mercedes or a BMW or a Lexus or no, not a Honda. A BMW, a Lexus, or what else? An Audi. Oh, Audi.
Maserati or Porsche?
Nah, I don't know. I'm too old for that.
Well, pick up a collection.
All right, thank you. They're not worshiping the Lord for money, and they're not worshiping the Lord for liberation or salvation. So somebody says to me, "Oh, are you saved? Are you saved?" I go, "Definitely not. Definitely not. I am definitely not saved. Nowhere will you find that I am inscribed in the saved list. I'm on my way down." Anyway, that's one's feeling. And, one will feel. Haridas Thakur said, if you even say my name, you lose any advancement you had just by saying my name. Haridas Thakur said that. So, why would I feel different? I'm much less than, but, okay. So, what are we really interested in? And if we're interested in understanding that we have this relationship with the Lord and it's reciprocal. And that's what bhakti is all about. You're serving the Lord, but the Lord is serving you also in one sense. Because Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he said, when he told the devotees the books that they were going to publish. Now Sarva Bhavana, he's publishing the second half of this example. The first book was Search for Sri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful. Everyone's searching for Krishna. Everyone's searching for Krishna. That's the first thing. But then after Sripad, Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj had published that and Golden Volcano and also Sri Guru and His Grace. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, but you've only published half of the story. You've published the Search for Sri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful, but you have to publish the Lord's loving search for His lost servant. That you have to publish. Now you're in the process of reprinting that, right?
Yes, right.
And we have all these nice books available online. So if somebody wants books, they can say, oh, that book's out of print. No. When we're done, there will never be such a thing as an out-of-print book. Wow. Yeah, because they're called books on demand, and that means that if somebody says, I want one of these, and one of that, and one of this, and one of that, and one of that, then we can put in an order for one of this, and one of these, and one of that, and one of these, and one of that. We can choose. It can be tutti frutti, this and this and this, and I'd like one of these, and I'd like one of those. Because all you have to do is say, I want one printed, and they'll print you one, and they'll send it to you. And this was something that, you know, so that is what Sarvabhavana is working on. We've been working on that. And then we have 5 books available. We have Bhagavad Gita, The Hidden Treasure of the Sweet Absolute. We have Search for Shri Krishna. Search for Shri Krishna, Reality of the Beautiful, Sri Guru and His Grace, Golden Volcano, and Subjective Evolution. Those are available. And we're trying to get Prapanajiva Namrita, Brahma Samhita, Loving Search,
and Sermons of the Guardian of Devotion.
Sermons of the Guardian Devotion. I'd like to also do Golden Volcano, and then we also want to print books of Srila Govinda Maharaj. We want to get all those. So I'm hoping you can give me some, what do they call them? You know, you gave me once, you know.
A list of,
What?
a list of
No, the what do they call them? When you just slide something into that.
slipcase.
No, the you know, the template, the template for the books, and then we'll fill them in. I want to fill in the templates. But anyway, so as I was saying, really life itself is spiritual. You don't have to believe, you don't have to be, you know, Sanatana Dharma means the eternal occupation of the living soul. You know, and it's not just humans that have that Sanatana Dharma. Plants and insects and you know, bacteria and fungi. They're all living entities, right? They may not be in a stage of realization, but life itself in all species is divine. It's coming from the soul. So when one can become in contact with the Param Vaishnavas and engage in devotional service in bhakti, then one can illuminate one's own whole existence, and then one can see that, yes, actually I'm a spiritual living entity, I'm eternal. You know, if you're eternal, then naturally you're going to get, so to speak, bummed out by having to die. You won't like that because you're an eternal spiritual living entity, you know. So that's what we're promoting. We're promoting this Bhakti Yoga retreat. And we feel that anybody who engages in Bhakti Yoga, regardless of where they're coming from, whether they're from, you know, Latin America, or whether they're from Europe, or whether they're from Asia, or anywhere, they will get benefit, because this is for everyone. It's not for just some, you know, closed group of people, you know. And regardless of what may go on in the realm of politics, we're not trying to exclude anybody. We want everyone to be welcome. So that is our hope. Does anyone have a question? Do you want to say anything, Maharaj? Yeah. Yes, I would like that. And maybe you'll say something. Let's get brief, and then you and maybe Vishakha can say anything. Something.
There's another microphone.
There's another what?
There's another microphone over there that was just fine.
Do we have a wireless mic?
Not wireless.
There's a wire.
Not a wireless mic.
Wireless.
Is this?
It's on the floor there, right next to the Vyasa-san. There's even a stand.
This stand. Okay, this one. This one.
Now we don't have to juggle your microphones.
That I can speak quite loud enough for you.
All right, hold on.
Or maybe for
Hello,
the diction, too.
hello. This one's all wrapped
let me-
up. I can undo it.
Yeah, there's just a Velcro.
Yeah, Bill.
Hare Krishna. When the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, the description is given there that in pin drop silence, everybody was hearing what Shukadeva Goswami had to say. And we sometimes wonder, because these are very new things, but Mahaprabhu and all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas for all these hundreds of years, they were giving class and they are doing Sankirtan without loudspeakers and microphones, etc. But now we are following India in some ways, but not every way. In India, then you must have a distorted microphone over the top. Okay, so without distortion, hopefully we can just say a couple of things. First of all, very happy, not only from many nations people have come together, but many backgrounds, young, old, somebody not knowing anything, some knowing something. And it's a melting pot when we come into the relativity of consciousness of God, consciousness of divinity, consciousness of divine life. Then all kinds of persons are equal, you can say. And a couple of days ago, in fact yesterday morning, I looked out to see if Madhavananda Prabhu's van was still there. And he has a big van. But the same size van was there, but it was a Cadillac. It was a Cadillac, a nice Cadillac parked outside there. But, I thought, well, who has a Cadillac? But then it just came in my mind that actually everybody, as soon as they come into the temple room, come before the deity. Everybody is kind of equal. Whether you own a Cadillac or whether you've only got a bicycle or don't even have a bicycle, everyone's on an equal footing. And this was very much apparent when we were with Srila Govinda Maharaj and with Srila Guru Maharaj. Some people really penniless and some people really wealthy in the material sense. But in the presence of Gurudev and Guru Maharaj, all were on the same level, means we are human, we're temporary, we're not identifying with our Cadillac or our Harley Davidson or our anything, Royal Enfield or anything else, but we are identifying only with the search for what is our home, where the search for reality, the search for not the temporary things of this world, but for the home where we all have a proper place, where we have our own identity, home comfort, the expression that our Srila Sri Rama, Srila Guru Maharaj used so many times. Home comfort.
To return home to the land of love.
Return home to the land of love. Yes, that is included in the home comfort. So we are getting an introduction for those of us who are new, that really we do have a home, and for those of us who are not so new, getting a little grey around the edges and the middle and other parts. Then we can remind ourselves that we've come in touch with very valuable treasure, not to let this slip through our fingers. It is a great fortune. So we can just try to encourage each other. Savor, this is also a savor retreat. Bhakti means savor. Savor is service, means giving our energy voluntarily, happily, but for the divinity, for the highest cause, not for just helping the drunk or helping something like this. If you give him $10, he's just going to go and drink it, and what help is that? But we're trying to address the cause of all of the suffering of this world, not just trying to put a bandage on the symptoms. Like if you go to a doctor and the doctor, oh, you got a headache, take this, the headache will go away. But he's not addressing what is the cause of that headache. Then that's not really proper medicine or proper attention for the patient. So what is the cause of us coming into this material identification? What is the cause of the suffering which takes place, whether it's on a country by country level, a village by village level, on a personal level? So many things, the newspapers and the TV, they love to show all the difficulties which are around. So it's not very difficult for us to see that there is difficulty in the world, to be a little bit awake to the fact that we are all in the midst of this. However, this is only the symptom, like the headache. What is the cause? this is being addressed by the devotees, by Bhakti Yoga, by Bhagavad Gita, by Vedavyas, the Vedas, and is being addressed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being addressed in the most positive way, that giving us the remedy for the cause, to cure the disease itself. So not just to get out of the birth, death, and the idea of this karma, so then hence disease and accidents and all these things that come along. But that's just the relief side, if you like. But entrance to the most positive side, the side of Krishna Leela, the side of eternal, ever-fresh, joyful participation from the heart to the Lord through his devotees. So this is the potential for everybody. We've all come in touch with a grand line of masters and teachers who are presenting this to us. And the central point is to chant Hare Krishna at every step and every turn of the wheel for you cyclists and all other things. But at every step we need to chant the name of the Lord, and we should try to make each step and every turn of the wheel also in some devotional way. So we don't just do things for enjoyment, but we can have a purpose for everything that we do. So with the association of devotees, hearing Hari Katha and not the Gramya Katha, the village talks, the political talks and all these things, replace that, just leave it aside, and let's try to put it always in our, not only, they say you are what you eat, but it's not only what you consume through your mouth, what you consume through your ears, through your eyes, all of these things. We want to make ourselves aware of the higher plane and in the association of good persons who have got a similar aspiration, and if possible, those who are more experienced, who can help us along the path, and those who are well disposed to us, who are willing to help us, who are friendly to us, who want to help. If we can get that association, that would be very, very helpful. And I can say that kind of association you are going to get here at the Seva Ashram and similar centers and places around the world and around America, where the devotees come together with one purpose, which is to glorify the Lord, the devotees, the path of devotion, and encourage each other. So just kind of briefly, in this assembly of all kinds of persons, maybe of all kinds of backgrounds, etc., but there is a common aim, and that common aim is very worthwhile, and we have a common guide, because we all have appreciation that here we're getting clean, pure, like non-cheating process. We know we're not being cheated. The only person who's cheating is ourselves by not being able to do properly what we've been advised to do. But we are trying, and we know that we've got this wonderful opportunity, so let us not let that slip through our fingers. This is my encouragement to everybody. We are all on this equal level, if you like, as the very junior to come with a high ideal to the most senior place, and we have this opportunity. So I welcome you all and encourage you. Jai Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bravo! Thank you, Jai Krishna. Thank you for your encouragement. To Vishakha.
Well, we're very, very fortunate to hear from Srila Janardan Maharaj and Srila Madhusudan Maharaj. They're not just speaking, lip deep words, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj says, but their words have life, they have potency, because they're not just talking about it, but they're doing it, and they have been doing it for many, many years. And so hearing from them, it will nourish our brain, but it will also nourish our heart on a deeper level. And so this is our great opportunity. And there are other senior Vaishnavas here we should hear from, but I'm just accepting the invitation because I feel it's good to represent the lady side. Not that, ultimately we're all spirit souls, but just to if I can try to show that persons appearing in lady bodies, they can also say something, but that they're always in male bodies. And I've just been here a few days, and it's well, actually, I just got here yesterday. It's a very wonderful atmosphere, and we're all reminded of when our Gurudev was present, the type of energy and the potency, the inspiration that everyone was feeling. And when our Gurudev was traveling on his world tours, it was it was automatic that everyone would come together to be with him because he had such a powerful presence. So it was like an automatic thing that persons would just drop everything to be with him wherever he was, And persons like Srila Janardan Maharaj, they followed him everywhere, had very close association with him. But so, we were coming, everyone was coming to see our Gurudev, but then automatically there was also a kind of reunion amongst the devotees which was taking place. And that was also, very nourishing, to see Gurudev, but also to have that association, feel that support and, that reciprocation, that, confirmation of the ideal, amongst one another. That was also very powerful. But since our Gurudev left, that kind of like automatic reunion hasn't been taking place. And so we're all indebted to Sripad Tyagi Maharaj, who took the initiative to organize something, So we all, are able to participate, feel something of we're feeling that atmosphere again, because our Gurudev, he's living in the hearts of all of his faithful followers. And so when we're all coming together, it's like, many candles, they're glowing more brightly together. And so we're all feeling our Gurudev's presence more strongly in the association of one another. And it's also very, very wonderful to be in the company of many new persons, persons who are coming for the first time and still developing some understanding of these teachings. That's also very vital actually to our continued inspiration in Krishna consciousness. We need that freshness. It gives us so much inspiration and that we have that fresh flow and fresh current coming in, and it's a very beautiful reciprocation, the relation that can take place between newcomers and long-time practitioners, because the older practitioners, they have the opportunity to share, to extend, and that's giving them enlivenment. And then the newcomers, they're also getting inspiration, hearing from the older practitioners. So it's Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he gives the example that the freshest and the cleanest, purest water, it's the running water, it's the current, that flowing water in the stream. So in the same way, when we have the opportunity to share something, to extend something, it's like keeping us alive and keeping us fresh and awake in Krishna consciousness. So it's this very beautiful reciprocation that's taking place. And actually we see what's necessary in a mission is two main things are necessary for a successful spiritual mission: for the existing practitioners to keep inspiration, to keep enthusiasm, for their faith to remain strong and also to develop. That's one side of things. And then the other side is for new persons to be inspired, to be attracted, to come, to participate. And then when these two come together, everything's very, very beautiful. So this festival, it's like a conjunction of these two things, and it's a very, very beautiful experience, and I feel very happy to be a small part of it. it's my great fortune, and we hope it will continue. Okay.
So, Vishakha was talking about representing the female section as opposed to the male, which I think perhaps it's only fitting. But I'm thinking Krishna is Purush Uttama, Purushottam, the highest male. And his energies, his Shaktis, he is Shaktiman. And his energies, the Yogamaya, Mahamaya, and the Tadishta Shakti, the Jivatma, they're all of the female potency. Well, now we are coming in perhaps a male body, perhaps a female body, and if we accumulate some karma from that in the wrong way, perhaps we'll come back in a female body. We don't want any of it. We don't want to come back. We want to go home, back to Godhead. But as living entities, our nature is female, as Jivatma, as Tadishta Shakti. Shakti implies the feminine potency of the Lord, the energy of the Lord. So, anyway, enough of that. Recently I was more invalid than usual, and I watched some television to while away the time, and there was one recurring drama of a football team and their coach that were trapped in a cave in Thailand. I'm sure everybody heard about that. And then some divers, they took some pity on them, these poor lost boys, and from so many countries around the world, they came and tried to give them some rescue. And after some days, they were able to bring them all out. They went in the hospital. One boy, I was going to say, we are all suffering in this cave here, and the water is rising as we near the end of our lifespan. But luckily, the Supreme Lord has taken pity on us, and He has sent some divers down to rescue us. Divers like Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Raka Kshidadev Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Goswami Maharaj, and they are willy-nilly helping us, pulling us out of that dark cave of ignorance through the muddy waters of the material environment and helping us to achieve freedom. This is not a perfect metaphor, because I hear one of the boys, when asked what he wanted, he told his brother to have a big bucket of fried chicken ready for him when he got out. So the material world is always there to pull us back in. But here Tyagi Maharaj and Srila Madhusudan Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pavan, Janardan Maharaj, they are diving into the muddy waters and, well, excuse the expression, they're helping to find the trapped souls, those who are trapped in the darkness, in the rising waters of death, or imminent death, and they are trying to bring them to their immortal home, to eternal life in the spiritual world, in their real home. This material world, we are so bombarded by the illusory environment that we think, I am this body. And if I want to be happy, perhaps I should, buy this car, eat at this restaurant, find a perfect wife, make more money. So many things. Everybody is running after happiness. People may say they don't want money, they don't want this or that, but who is it who will say they don't want beauty, charm, happiness? Quoting. So we are hoping that to ease the suffering of this environment, to ease the suffering of the souls entrapped in this material illusory environment. And I feel very honored to have the association of the devotees who are dedicating themselves to this rescue attempt. Srila Maharaj once gave the example of this material world being like a hospital ward for those people who are too ill to mix with the people in the transcendental world, maybe mentally ill, physically ill. And he said that the doctors, the nurses, they're coming, they're trying to rescue these people. Sometimes, when I was in the hospital just recently, I would hear a code over the loudspeaker, a gray code in IC, or whatever it might be. That meant the patient was physically resisting treatment. They were fighting the doctors and the nurses. And sometimes we see that here, sometimes we go out, Harinam, etc., and maybe some people will say, look at those weirdos, or, Jesus died for your sins, you're all going to hell, whatever it may be. But we have to remember that nice example of the Napoleonic chair given by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. It's been written up in Search for Sri Krishna, I think, Reality the Beautiful.
It may be. One of the books.
When Napoleon and his army were retreating from Moscow under the duress of General Winter, it was cold, it was snowy, and everyone was dead tired. Napoleon knew that if they lay down on the ground to rest, they'd die. So he had all of his soldiers form a circle, and then he gave the order to sit. And many circles, not just one big circle. And then they'd sit in the lap of the people behind them, and that way they could get some rest. So in a similar fashion, we are in a non-supportive environment externally, but if we have the association of the devotees, if we have the goodwill of the devotees, if we have the association of the devotees, then we can get some recuperation from the material environment. And this ashram, and ashram means a shelter. It is a place, and it's a seva ashram. It's not just an ashram, but it's a place for the devotees to get some relief from the material world and to engage in that natural Sanatana Dharma of seva. We had a talk a little while ago about what is seva. Vishakha spoke about that just yesterday. Seva is the natural condition of the living entity of the Jivatma. And by engaging the devotees in service here at the ashram, then they're getting some relief from the material environment and engaging in the service of the Lord, which is bringing them closer to home, back to Godhead. One Swami Maharaj, it was an apocryphal, there was a story about one devotee asked him, said, "Oh, Prabhupada, did you know that God spelled backward is dog?" And Prabhupada said, "We are not interested in any backwards conception of God." And one poet, he wrote a song, and in that song he said, you can serve the devil or you can serve God, the Lord, but you got to serve somebody. And if we serve the devil, we'll be going down. We'll be going down to a lower form of life after we leave this body. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, are eternally in a cycle of going into lower and lower, more demonic births. But if we serve the Lord, then we have some good hope, some good expectation. So, anyway, thank you so much, and sorry I spoke so long. Jai Shri Krishna.
We'll have some kirtan and then.
Jai.
And I want to express some appreciation to all the persons like
The chapter.
Like Dehi, who came here and brought devotees from Los Angeles. And all the friends of Shama Mohini that came with her. We're appreciating that. And our guest.
so many people to come.
Who?
Bilbamanga.
Bilbamanga.
Invite several people to come. And they're here also.
And okay. Now sing Hari Haraya, have some kirtan, and then take prasad. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namah. Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Jadavaya Namah. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Jadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah. Gopal Govinda Madhusudan. Hari